The carbon fiber that I use this is an update about what I use, how I use it, and where I get it. I use 3 diameters for a bow. In all my kites, those are the 3 diameters I use. 1.3 millimeter, 1.4 millimeter, and 1.5 millimeter in diameter, solid carbon fiber rods. If I make a kite and I use a 1.3 millimeter diameter for the bow, that kite is a kite I probably will fly in light wind. The same kite pattern exactly, except for the bow diameter. I can use 1.4 or 1.5 in the same kite, and that kite will fly really well in stronger winds. The larger the diameter, stronger the wind it will fly well in. So those are the 3 diameters I use. And then I use 2 other diameters. 0.8 millimeter, which I use for the battens in my kites, like in here. These battens, these are 0.8 millimeter. And then in the nose section, I put a piece of 0.5 millimeter. This is very thin, very flexible, but it adds enough stiffness to and protection for the nose that I glue that right on there, right to the bow from the nose. And I find that works really, really well. For the spine, the most commonly used among kite makers is a 1 millimeter by 4 millimeter piece of flat carbon. Easy to work with. It's got a good degree of stiffness. It can be relatively easily bent with a tension line, and you can also shape it to allow you to locate the area where you want the bend to be by simply sanding down the edges to make it thinner, not so wide. And in that thin area will be where the maximum bend will occur when you put tension on it. So it allows you to control it pretty easily. And since carbon fiber bonds well with T8000 glue, that's what I use for bonding it to the sail. Also, you can make it with a bend already in it, so you don't use a tension line. And this one I made by laminating 2 pieces of flat carbon, each 1/2 millimeter thick by 3 millimeters wide. And I used 2-part 5-minute epoxy to bond them together. I just put a weight on one part of it and put something underneath the nose section to create the bend shape I wanted, let the epoxy set up, and this is what I get. Well, in addition to the bend being there permanently, the epoxy lamination process also stiffens the whole spine, which in a spine, stiffness is typically a very good thing. So that's another option. You can also add to it a flat piece of carbon. If you want a stiffer section, you can just add any round piece, cut a piece, glue it wherever you want the spine to be stiffer, glue it on that section, and it will be much stiffer. And if you want the bond of the glue to be even better, just sand down one side of the round carbon a little bit, and that will help keep the bond good. But I've never had a problem even without sanding it. And with carbon fiber, there's also another interesting shape that's available, and it's square. You can get this in solid or like this is a tube. This is a 2 millimeter by 2 millimeter square piece of carbon fiber. In the center, believe it or not, is a 1 millimeter diameter hole. So this is a square tube. Yep, a square tube, and boy is it stiff and is very lightweight. So what I did here, because it's so stiff, I used a piece of 1.3 millimeter carbon rod, and I drilled out the 1 millimeter hole to make it 1.2 millimeters in diameter. This is a 1.3 millimeter diameter rod, sanded down the ends of it a little bit to allow it to fit into the hole, glued it in, and now my spine bends exactly in that place and that place only. So this allows great amount of control over what part of the spine is straight, what part is curved, if that's important to you. To me, it's a great part of my experimentation. To cut carbon fiber, I use this tool. I think I bought it at Home Depot, I believe. But this notched area here, I use to cut all the round and the square. And this flat area, I use to cut the flat carbon. It's a very effective tool, very easy. I think it was inexpensive. I've had it for years. I don't remember the cost. So that's the update on carbon fiber that I use. And I'll give you a link to where you can buy it. You can buy it in a lot of places online. And I use the millimeter dimension because that's how you're going to find it online, is the millimeter dimension, not inches. And the reason is the carbon fibers that are typically sold by hobby shops and so on, where we buy our carbon, comes from China. And in China, that's what they use, is millimeters. So there you go.